skaɾ copyright Cardozo Marín is a Paraguayan professional footballer who plays as a striker for Turkish club Trabzonspor in the Paraguay national team. Known for his powerful left foot shot and free kick skills, he first gained notoriety whilst playing for Newell's Old Boys, which led to a move to Benfica in 2007. He scored nearly 200 official goals for the Portuguese club and won 5 major titles, including the 2010 National Championship where he also was the top scorer. In 2014, he joined Trabzonspor in the Turkish Super Lig. Nicknamed karઃ, Cardozo gained more than 45 caps for Paraguay, representing the nation at the 2010 World Cup. Club career: 3 de Febrero, born in Juan Eulogio Estigarribia, Cardozo commenced his professional career with modest club Attribution 3 de Febrero of Ciudad del Este, participating in the División de Intermedia Championship in 2003. In round 1 of the 2003 season, Cardozo scored in a 1-1 home draw against ska'r. In the following fixture, Cardozo scored in a 2-0 home victory against Sportivo Atia ±0 on May 11. 2 weeks later, Cardozo netted in a 3-0 home victory against River Plate Asunción on May 25. Cardozo would not score again until round 11, where the player scored the only goal in a 1-0 away victory for 3 de Febrero against Cerro Porte ±0 de President Franco on July 13. The following week, Cardozo would again score against ska'r in 1-1 away draw on July 27. On August 10, Cardozo scored his first double in a 2-0 home victory against Nacional Asunción. 1 week later, Cardozo would score the only goal for 3 de Febrero as they were defeated 3-1 away against River Plate Asunción on August 16. In the following fixture, Cardozo would again score, this time in a 1-1 home draw against President Hayes on August 23. On August 30, Cardozo scored in a 5-1 away thrashing against Collegiales, which totaled to 5 consecutive goals in 4 matches. Cardozo's last league goal would come in round 21, when the player netted in a 2-1 away victory against Deportivo Recoleta on September 3. 27 de Febrero had finished in second place of the División de Intermedia table and were drawn into promotion playoff fixtures. On October 12, Cardozo scored in 3 de Febrero's 4-2 victory against River Plate Asunción and 1 week later would score against ska'r in his side's 2-0 victory on October 19. Cardozo again scored in the following playoff fixture, a 3-2 victory against General Caballeros Ebalosca copyright on October 25. Having won 3 qualifying promotion playoff fixtures successfully, 3 de Febrero ultimately faced Club Tacuary in a promotion-relegation playoff, which saw the latter win 4-2 on aggregate. Nacional Asunción. In 2004 he moved to the top level with Asunción's Club Nacional, where he quickly established himself as the team's top scorer, scoring 17 overall goals in his last season. Newell's Old Boys. Cardozo arrived at Argentina and Newell's Old Boys in the second half of the 2006-07 season for a transfer fee of $1.2 million, joining compatriots Diego Gavilla N., Santiago Salcedo and Justo Villa. He netted 11 goals in only 16 games in the Apertura, but his team could only finish 18th in the tournament, and 13th overall. As a result of his performances, he was voted the 2006 Paraguayan Footballer of the Year. Benfica. On June 21, 2007 Cardozo officially signed for Portuguese club SL Benfica, after being bought for an approximate amount of €9.1 million for 80% of his playing rights. This made him the second most expensive signing in the club's history, only surpassed by Simão Paulo Sabrosa for whom the club paid $13 million in 2001. He finished his first season with 22 official goals, but the Reds came out empty in silverware. On February 22, 2008, he scored a last-minute goal against 1. FC Nuremberg for the campaign's UEFA Cup, thus, he kept his promise of surpassing the 20-goal mark. In 2008-09 Cardozo scored 17 goals, all in the league. including the equaliser against FC Porto on August 30, 2008. He finished second in the Bola de Prata race, losing only to Lea Copyrights of Sporting Clube de Portugal. In April 2008, Benfica bought out the remaining 20% of his rights for a further €2.5 million, thus investing €11.6 million in his economic rights. Cardozo had a very positive 2009 Euro 10 pre-season, netting 8 times in 10 matches. On August 31, 2009, in the third league game, he scored a hat-trick in an 8 Euro 1 home demolition of Vita Cubed Rio de Setúbal. On October 22, in the Europa League group stage match against Everton, karʻð netted twice in 2 minutes in an eventual 5 Euro 0 thrashing at the Estadio da Luz, and added a further 3 in the league against CD Nacional, and with a karʻð copyright Mica de Coimbra. In the Europa League quarter-finals against Liverpool, Cardozo scored 2 penalties for a 2 Euro 1 home win. He also found the net in the second leg at Anfield with a free kick, but in a 1 Euro 4 loss and subsequent elimination. As Benfica won the national championship, adding the year's domestic League Cup, he finished with a career-high 38 goals in 47 matches, partnering well with Argentine Javier Saviola. On February 10, 2010, Benfica sold 20% of his economic rights to Benfica Stars Fund for a 4 million, valuing him at a 20 million. At the end of the 2011 Euro 12 campaign, Cardozo was crowned Portuguese league top scorer for the second time at 20 goals a Euro joint with SC Braga's Lima Euro as Benfica finished in second position. On December 10, 2012 he scored 3 in a 3 Euro 1 derby win at Sporting, repeating the feat the following week at home against CS Maritimo, which resulted in him surpassing the 100-goal mark in the Portuguese league. On January 2, 2013, Cardozo took his season tally to 21 goals in 19 official games after netting 3 in a 6 Euro 0 home routing of CD Aves for the campaign's Portuguese Cup. On May 2 he scored his 5th and 6th in 8 contests in the season's Europa League, being crucial to a 3 Euro 1 home win against Fenerbahçe Section ESK. In the semi-final second leg with the subsequent 3 Euro 2 aggregate qualification to the final in Amsterdam. In the decisive match he netted from the penalty spot in the 68th minute for the 1 Euro 1 equaliser against Chelsea, who eventually won it 2 Euro 1. Cardozo was replaced after 70 minutes in the domestic cup final on May 26, 2013, with Benfica leading 1 Euro 0 but eventually losing 1 Euro 2 to Vita Cubed Rio de Guimarães. At the end of the game he angrily confronted manager Jorge Jesus, inclusively pushing him. He later apologized for his actions, being fined for half of his monthly salary. On June 2013, Manuel Pellegrini, the Manchester City manager, declared his interest on the Paraguayan international. Cardozo started the new season after his teammates due to the controversy, but soon returned to his scoring ways. His goals against Guimarães, Estoril and Nacional were vital in keeping Benfica in the race for the title. On November 9, 2013, he put 3 past Sporting in a 4 Euro 3 home win for the domestic cup's 4th round, increasing to 13 the goals he scored against Sporting, surpassing Manuel Fernandes. In November 2013, an injury ruled him out for 2.5 months. When he returned, he found himself relegated to the bench, with the team now fully adapted to play with Lima and Rodrigo. On May 14, 2014, Cardozo missed a penalty shootout against Sevilla FC in an eventual Europa League final loss on penalties. He still finished the campaign with 11 goals, all competitions comprised, including 7 in the domestic league, which was won for the 33rd time. On early August 2014, Trabzonspor announced it were in negotiations with Cardozo. Cardozo played for the Reds since 2007, and was together with Marci Pereira and Luisa Poundo, the team captains. He also is the 9th all-time goal scorer, 2nd in European competitors and the foreigner with most goals with 172. On August 4, 2014, Benfica announced Cardozo was leaving for Trabzonspor. He thanked the club and claimed "You always been in my heart." Trabzonspor, on August 4, 2014, Cardozo moved to Turkish Super Lig side Trabzonspor for a €5 million fee, with a further €1.6 million depending on performance-related bonuses. On August 21 he scored his first goal for the club, in a 2-0 home win against Russian side FC Rostov for the campaign's UEFA Europa League. Cardozo made his league debut in a 1-1 away draw against Istanbul Başakşehir on September 22. Cardozo was substituted onto the field in the 52nd minute for Fauciatic, and scored a 93rd minute penalty which sealed a draw for Trabzonspor. International career. On October 7, 2006 Cardozo made his international debut for Paraguay, in an exhibition game with Australia, and he scored his first goal on June 5 of the following year in another friendly, now against Mexico. He was selected for the squad that appeared in that year's Copa América Rica. The tournament in Venezuela ended in the quarter-finals and the player netted once, in a 3-1 group stage win against the United States. Cardozo scored 2 goals in the 2010 FIFA World Cup qualification stages, as Paraguay qualified for the finals in South Africa. On June 29, 2010 he netted the winning penalty in the shootout against Japan, as La Albiroja qualified for the World Cup quarter-finals for the first time ever. In the following game, however, with the score at 0-0, he missed a 59th-minute penalty against Spain, in a 0-1 defeat against the eventual champions. Cardozo was overlooked by coach Gerardo Martino for the 2011 Copa América Rica squad, in spite of scoring 23 official goals for Benfica. International goals, statistics, club, as of April 7, 2014, includes 1 match in the Portuguese Super Cup, international, honors, club, 3 de Febrero, Paraguayan Divizia Cubden Intermedia, 2004, Benfica, Primeira Liga, 2009 a Euro 10, 2013 a Euro 14, Tour Section de Portugal, 2013 a Euro 14. Runner-up 2012 a Euro 13, Tour Section da Liga, 2008 a Euro 09, 2009 a Euro 10, 2010 a Euro 11, 2011 a Euro 12, 2013 a Euro 14, UEFA Europa League, runner-up 2012 a Euro 13, 2013 a Euro 14, Superta Section a karʻð Sendido de Oliveira, runner-up 2010, individual, Paraguayan Footballer of the Year, 2006, 2009, Primeira Liga, top scorer 2009 a Euro 10, 2011 a Euro 12, SJPF Player of the Month, May 2009. Tour Section de Portugal, top scorer 2007 a Euro 08, 2010 a Euro 11, 2012 a Euro 13, UEFA Europa League, top scorer 2009 a Euro 10, Goal.com Team of the Year, 2009 a Euro 10, Personal Life, in spite of the same surname, a similar nickname and physical resemblance, he is not related to Rama Cubden Cardozo, who is also a footballer and a forward. References. External links, Benfica official profile, stats and profile at 00, stats at Fora de Jogo, Portugal profile, Óscar Cardozo at national-football-teams.com, Óscar Cardozo a Euro FIFA competition record, 2010 FIFA World Cup profile.